The MLS and NHL also announcing they will be suspending their seasons as MLB cancels spring training sessions and delays its regular season for at least the first 2 weeks. Now, the NCAA canceling March Madness tournaments and remaining championship games, PGA and the NASCAR all continuing, but without fans in attendance, while other sporting events, including the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, are still up in the air. Let's bring in Jared Max from Fox News Headlines 24/7 for more. Jared, a lot of people think, well, these are just sporting events, people having fun, you can get away. But think of all the thousands of vendors, all of the people that may not be paid directly by the leagues themselves, but that work as independent contractors who are going to be losing their jobs, at least temporarily. That could really hurt them.
For a lot of people who live paycheck to paycheck, and a good portion of the United States and the world certainly does, this is a huge hit. People talk about the amount of money that's going to get lost here. You could look at the NCAA tournament. It's over $1 billion that's worth. How much is it worth the rest of the NHL season? 3.5 weeks to go. The NBA season. There's all big money, but that's money that I don't think that most people really register with. What registers to us is, wait a second, I have bills coming in. If they're sending me home from work, how am I possibly going to be able to pay my bills, let alone go out and get some food? David, I was thinking this earlier, that if you would have told me 1 week ago that all of these sports leagues in North America, these major pro sports leagues, would get suspended before I would find some hand sanitizer back on the shelves at the supermarket, I'd say you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Something is askew here.
Jonathan?
Well, I'm shocked. I mean, I thought these greedy, money-hungry capitalists, I thought they don't care about people. I thought they would kill people to make a buck, right? That's what we always hear about capitalists, is that they would kill their customers just to make some money. Of course, that's not the case. And Mark Cuban, I think, to his credit, put this out there very clearly, that it's about people's lives. And they don't want to risk their reputation of fans or their athletes getting sick at these events. But to your point, I mean, look, I feel terrible for all those affected, the cab drivers, the caterers, the restaurant operators. Lots of money, lots of dislocation because of these suspensions.
Does any of this fall into any kind of insurance protocol? I mean, do teams have fan insurance, or if the games are canceled?
I guess we're going to come to learn about that, because whenever, sometimes at natural disasters, you find out, oh, great, I have this homeowner's insurance policy, but it doesn't cover the most obvious one.
Yeah.
We'll come to find that out. Sometimes there's insurance policies for contracts and such. I think in the big picture here, this is one where for all of us, we pay the price, don't count the cost.
Right.
When we get to the end, we'll know where we are. These were smart moves to cancel all of these events, I believe. And also tennis as well. The ATP Men's Tour and International Tennis Federation, at least for 6 weeks, we're not going to see.
I'm surprised, though, that some of these things can't go on just for the television audience. I mean, I get it why they don't want to pack stadiums and so forth, but a tennis match, I mean, you don't have to have much commerce with a whole bunch of people to have a tennis match.
I think what I brought up about going to a store and you can't find alcohol or whatnot, that helps create a certain hysteria. Now, if those items were in place, I think we might deal with this a little bit easier. But if, let's say, there's only 100 people going into arena, somebody still has to check them. And until we have tests, how do we know? So we don't have the tests yet. We can't just go into a place and get it done.
By the way, I heard this morning, I think that there was one of the sports organizations, there is a force majeure clause with the television network, so they can basically get out of their contract. That doesn't help everything, but it
doesn't help the vendors. Go ahead, Gary.
Which leads to the question, who takes the hit here? We're talking bazillions of dollars of guaranteed contracts to players in different sports, and now the TV rights, radio rights, streaming rights, you name the rights, the revenues go bye-bye. Who do you think ends up taking the hit when all's said and done here?
This is one that, again, this is like in a baseball term, for all of us, this is our first time through the lineup.
Right.
We've never experienced this before. And I think we're understanding where priorities fall. And in the end, priorities will go the right way. Is somebody potentially going to get really screwed over in a bad way? Yeah, maybe. But hopefully it's somebody who can afford that, as opposed to we're talking, the rank and file.
Americans love sports so much, particularly professional sports that are attached to their home team. I'm just wondering if the pent-up demand is going to be so great that some of these suspensions hopefully, praise God, that this thing works its way through quickly. Some of these suspensions may be repealed, and if the virus goes away in like 2 months, we may have full seasons.
I agree, and I think that everything is kind of open to potential change. Most of the leagues have said this. We're willing to work with this. And even horse racing, I understand a lot of the racetracks are also shutting down, or they won't be even having fans there. It's widespread.
There's going to be a lot of coordination needing to be done because a lot of venues are now shutting down. So this is going to be a lot of complication over the next few months.
Absolutely. Jared, Max, great to see you, Jared.
David,
Thank
always
you
a
for
pleasure.
being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.